truly how he suffered the 2 high ankle sprains. He's out indefinitely from football, and now the school is attempting to vet his story. I'm just saying, if I hurt myself, even if I think bad, which maybe happened in this case, if I'm making up a story, which, by the way, kids, don't lie, don't make up stories, just tell the truth. I'm just saying it's not okay to lie. But if we're getting past that part of the story here, man, in 2014, people can find out anything. It's very easy to verify stories. I hope that tomorrow, I'm telling you, that it turns out that USC investigated this story and it's true. Josh Shaw is truly a hero who dove in the pool and saved his nephew, and that's how he got hurt. Because that's a hell of a story to make up otherwise. Like you don't go to coach and go, "Hey, coach, man, I'm hurt. What happened?" "Well, you wouldn't believe it, but I dove out of the second story and blah, 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 blah." You don't make that story up if it's not true. I mean, you can make up a lot of things that are easier to prove or disprove than that one there. So I don't know. I just thought it was an insane story because right off the bat, the school didn't believe it. And then the media didn't believe it because they can't track down any proof that this happened. Then you got the police report, which once again just says that a man named Joshua Shaw was involved. So just so nobody can say I'm accusing, I don't know, but that's the details of it. And he went and told him that he was a hero. So I'm just saying, if you're going to make up a story, you can make up a better one. I think Josh, if that's a made up story, Josh Gordon was better sticking with the secondhand smoke than that guy was. So, hey, maybe he was trying to avoid a dirty drug test, so he jumped out the window to avoid the secondhand smoke. I mean, maybe that's what happened there. Josh Gordon, don't follow that example, by the way. But next time you're around some secondhand smoke, if you have to, jump out of the apartment and into the pool. Save yourself. Stop, drop, and roll, Josh Gordon. But anyways, so that's the Josh Shaw story. I'll tell you guys more about it tomorrow if details come out. I don't know. USC is investigating it. They are suspect, but they say they will continue to support Shaw's version of the story until they can vet and verify what actually happened. And let's see. Oh, what else happened yesterday? Oh, that guy, Kevin Love, introduced to Cleveland Cavaliers fans yesterday. And interesting, too, because talking to David Griffin, this summer, the Cavaliers' goal was to come away. I mean, obviously, the LeBron James narrative is great to tell, but that was not part of your realistic plans. That was part of your best-case scenario. Kevin Love was part of the Cavs' intentional plans for this summer. The problem is that they, as they alluded to yesterday, they had talks off and on about trading for Kevin Love for the last year and a half. The problem is that without the changing dynamic of LeBron and trying to compete for championships, all you were going to do was trade away your assets for a guy who was going to walk away. He was going to walk away from Cleveland the same way he would have walked away from Minnesota. You were just basically throwing your hope in a barrel that playing with Kyrie and that the team would be able to compete. And I saw that some people said, they had some backup plans, Trevor Ariza, some other guys, if they weren't able to get LeBron. But that was kind of the plan. But Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving's extension, those were kind of the things that were planned for this summer to begin with. But then everything changed, as we know. We've told the story about LeBron and all of that. And he talked yesterday how the first call, that he got after LeBron signed in Cleveland was LeBron saying, "Come play with us," blah, blah, blah. And he said, "I'm in." It was a great story. And he does fit the spacing and all of that David Blatt needs. I found it interesting because people will jump on the Cavs, and hey, Dan Gilbert will tell you to this day that he wishes that he had never written the letter that he wrote. And, that just made him the spiteful, slave owner that everybody called him because how dare he try to keep his property in its place. But, Glen Taylor, he didn't do the best job either of being cordial on Kevin Love's way out of Minnesota. I thought Kevin Love was pretty high and above board with things. I mean, there's always going to be some hostility when a guy forces his way out. That's just all there is to it. And Taylor's kicking himself for not just making him the designated fifth-year guy anyway and not having to worry about this problem right now with Kevin Love. Instead, they gave him the 4-year extension and they left themselves open for this. But he definitely made a few comments last night here and this morning, and then Kevin Love fired back as Taylor said, he got away with some stuff in Minnesota, not playing defense. That's not going to work in Cleveland. I would think they're going to ask Kevin to play more defense. Plus, he's foul prone, and they're going to have to worry about that. He said, I question if this is the best decision for him because he's now going to be just the third player on the team. I don't think he's going to get any credit if they do well. I think he'll get all the blame if they don't do well. He's around a couple of guys that are awful good. Plus, I have concerns about his health, and Cleveland should have concerns about Kevin's health too. And then KLove, not very happy about that this morning. He said, I think he should focus on the players that he got. He just got 2 number 1 picks in a row, and Thaddeus Young, and a draft pick, and so on and so forth. And he got a lot for me. If I were him, I would be focused on that. But, and you know what? Hey, I will give Glen Taylor the fact that what he's saying is the same thing that critics of the trade had about KLove, but it would not have stopped you from re-signing him. Hey, LeBron was only a quitter to Dan Gilbert after he wouldn't re-sign the contract with LeBron. Maybe you felt it the whole time, but you sure weren't saying it out loud until he went to play for someone else. I agree. I question the defense about KLove. I do question that. I question the ball usage and how they're going to make an offense work for all 3 of these guys that are all high usage guys. I'm very curious about that. And I question the durability. I do question them. I question Kyrie, Love, and LeBron's durability. I know everybody says LeBron is just super durable, but he's reaching the point where he will start to suffer some physical breakdowns. I'm not saying they're huge. He's not Nate Thurmond at the end dragging himself off the bench to have one last brave performance. He's still a high-level athlete, but he's at where that's now a concern too. And Kyrie, it's always a concern because I'm still positive that he is the way he plays is just injury-prone. And so you got that and Love. But seeing them go back and forth at it, interesting. KLove did answer a few questions yesterday, made it very clear to everybody there that he's not in Cleveland for a year. However, nothing is signed on paper. Keep that in mind. I mean, you can always change your mind, but he said all the right things yesterday, said that he is here for a long-term commitment to the Cavaliers. I would easily translate that into as long as LeBron's here, I'll be here too, unless I decide that I get a better deal somewhere else. So it is what it is. A lot of things yet to sort themselves out, and we are close enough now that it's going to be interesting. Camp's coming around just around the corner, and we'll start to see how these guys mesh together because it's going to take some time. And again, people can get mad at me for saying that. I do believe that the sky is the limit for this team over the next couple of years, but that's the key phrase, over the next couple of years. And I think that I'm not saying, it takes 2 or 3 years to do it, but I'm just saying it's going to take at least 2, man. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you to be disappointed if they don't do it this year. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they're like, "Hey, well, if they make an Eastern Finals run or even an NBA Finals run and they lose, how would you classify that?" He looked at me and said, "How many games did we win last year?" I will classify that as a highly successful season, and now how do we get better? How do we go the next step the next year? How only in Cleveland can you go from winning 30 games to going, nah, the NBA Finals isn't good enough. If we don't win it all, it's a disappointment. Are you serious? The Cavs are going to win more games in the first 2 months of 2014 than they did in the entire season last year. So get back and enjoy the ride and enjoy the building process. That's the fun part of this thing, is seeing if it comes together early, and if it doesn't, what you can do to bring it together. That's how you build a team. Can't wait to watch it. KLove, a member of the Cavaliers here. I will say I was tweeting back and forth with some guys from Minnesota, and I told them, I said, well, Andrew Wiggins doesn't have to be mad that LeBron never talked to him. Bennett doesn't have to be mad that LeBron never talked to him, because guess what? They're going to see him again. 4 years from now, if they're not meeting, well, I don't know if it'd be LeBron, but I'm just saying, if they're not in the finals conversation, if 4 years from now, the Minnesota Timberwolves are not one of the better teams in the NBA, then they are truly one of the worst franchises in the entire league, because they have got a truckload of young talent now that should develop into one hell of a team over the next couple of years, and two of them came from here. I'm very interested in how Rubio and Bennett and Wiggins and all of those guys come together, and plus the Thaddeus Young and the draft picks and all of this. I'm telling you, in a couple of years, Minnesota should be very, very good, because they took advantage of the Cavs' impatience and got an incredibly impressive haul for a guy who was walking away. Compare what they got for Kevin Love to some of these other deals that teams have made, and you'll see how well Minnesota made out in this deal, because without the pressure to do it now, they'd have gotten half of what they got had they waited things out. Klay Thompson wasn't going in that deal, no matter what Minnesota wanted Cleveland to believe. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up tonight. Enjoy. Have some fun. Like Dan said, first college football game tonight. Corey Kluber night. That's all you need to know. Corey Kluber's at it tonight. Tomorrow, Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTribeWinLastNight.com. BSK is in the house. My man, Kendall Lewis, talking some Browns, previewing the Browns' final preseason game. BJ Riddell from Fantasy Football for Winners here, and you. Same bad time, same bad channel. Live at noon here on The Sports Fix. We love you, Cleveland. Go Tribe. We'll see you tomorrow.